Brianna, I am very glad that you came today. I know this is the part of PCIT that you've been asking for since you and Parker started. That part where we get to the listening and the minding part of PCIT. And I just really want to praise you on the incredible work that you have done with Parker over the last several weeks. I mean, I have watched her sharing and turn-taking get better. She doesn't melt down when her toy falls over, so I've seen some real improvements in that frustration tolerance. Your warmth and your closeness seems really wonderful and genuine. The enjoyment is just through the roof. It has been so nice to watch. But I understand that there's still those behaviors of the not minding and the not listening that are still there. So you met your criteria in your pride skills. Way to go. So now we can move to this part.
Okay.
And just like before, where when I taught you the pride skills, I did all the talking, lots of talking. I'm going to do that again today. I've got my notes to make sure that I cover everything. And then I have handouts for you so you don't have to worry about remembering everything or taking any notes. Okay. So we have all that there. Now I remember last time you were here, you were telling me that you had a pipe burst.
Yes.
And I wondered, sort of, were you able to get that taken care of?
We were. It took a couple of weeks, but everything's back on track, and now we can take hot baths and showers.
Oh, good. Hot water is a real blessing.
Yes, it is.
So that is tremendous. And I know you've been doing your special time, and I know that Ray has been able to come a couple times, and hopefully he'll be able to join us for a few sessions in the listening and minding part of PCIT. And I realize that he wasn't able to get off work today, but hopefully next time we can sort of fill him in.
Yes.
And I looked at your homework. Thank you very much. You are continuing to do a great job. That you did your special time 6 out of 7 days with Parker this week. That's tremendous, and it looks like that you did a lot of Play-Doh playing and some block building. So that's tremendous. Today we're going to walk through all of the steps to minding and listening, and then we'll role play it, so we'll get some practice. I don't want you trying this at home. I want to try it here first so that I can explain it to Parker and we can walk through it together. And so anything that throws us a curveball, we can deal with the two of us together rather than at home. So we're not doing this at home this week. You're going to stay with your special time and just your CDI skills. Okay? So we're going to figure out, you're going to continue to do all of the special time skills that you've been doing. You're going to continue in special time, but we're going to add some listening and minding skills and move to this phase of treatment, the parent-directed interaction. And we'll practice that minding and listening in the parent-directed interaction first in the clinic, and then we'll move it out to some play sessions in the clinic, and then play sessions at home, and then we'll get it bigger. So we're doing real life things in the home, real life things during the day, until we finally send you out in public with Parker, and you'll practice listening and minding in public. When we think about minding and listening, I want to think about 3 key features: consistency, predictability, and follow through. And I'm going to go ahead and define those so that you and I are on the same page, because those are words that you hear all the time. Oh, you need to be more consistent. Well, let's think, when we say consistent, what I mean is that you're going to handle a situation the same no matter what kind of mood you're in, no matter what kind of day you're having, and that's hard to do. But let's say that you wake up, the sun is shining, the birds are singing, you're early, things are fantastic, there's a knock on your door, and lo and behold, it's Publishers Clearinghouse with your $10 million check and a brand new BMW in your driveway. And here comes little Parker out of the kitchen with his bowl of cereal. And he sits on your couch even though you've told him a million times not to come out of the kitchen with his bowl of cereal, and he sits on the couch and spills it everywhere. You're thinking, I'm getting a new couch anyway, I don't really care, and you say, Parker, 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 you know you're not supposed to eat, but don't worry, Mommy's happy and we're going to get new furniture. Then you wake up and you realize it's been a dream. It is storming outside. The electricity has been out. Now you look, you're running 30 minutes behind schedule. You glance out your window and your Yugo is sitting in the driveway with a flat tire. And now Parker comes out of the kitchen with his bowl of cereal, sits on the couch, and it spills everywhere. That you may be much more likely to get upset with him, maybe yell at him, get on his case for bringing it out after you've told him so many times not to. When I talk about consistency, I want to handle the misbehaving, the not minding, and bringing the cereal out of the kitchen the same way, whether it's a publisher's clearinghouse day or whether it's a flat tire in the rain day. Okay. By predictability, what I'm talking about is that B always follows A. If you touch a hot stove, you burn your finger. If you touch a hot stove, you burn your finger. If you touch a hot stove, you burn your finger. No matter how many times I touch a hot stove, I can predict that I will always burn my finger. That's what I mean by predictable. And then when I think about follow through, what I'm talking about is that you can actually do what you say. That's hard to do because sometimes we say things and we know, and our children know, we're not really going to do that. So it may be, the family that saves up a lot of money to go to Disney World, bought the plane tickets, you've paid for the hotel rooms, you've paid for Mickey Magic Kingdom, and you're standing outside waiting to go in, and the kids start fighting, and you hear a mom turn around and say, if you children don't stop fighting, we're turning around and going home. Now, the kids know she's not going to take them home. The parent knows they're not going to take them home, so it really doesn't mean anything. It's sort of an empty threat. We're not going to make any threats in PDI. If we say we're going to do something, we're going to make sure that it's something we can follow through with. So we're going to look at the parent-directed interaction as something that's consistent and predictable, and we follow through with it. You've already laid some of the groundwork because when you said special time was going to start, it started. And when you said it was over, it was done. And you followed through with it. When you said it was going to be done, you didn't waver, you followed through, and you cleaned up the toys, and it was over. So we're going to build on that. We know that one of the best ways that we can improve children's minding and listening is simply by how we tell them what it is we want them to do, or how to give what I'm going to call effective commands. So we're going to start there, and I have a handout for this that I'll give you at the end. When we give an effective command, one of the ways to do it is to make sure that the commands we give are very direct. So, for example, if you say to Parker, Parker, would you like to put a nose in the potato head? What might Parker say to you?
I don't want to.
I don't want to, absolutely. But you gave him a choice. Do you want to? How about? When you give a choice, then the child has the right to say no. But what you really meant was put the nose in the potato head. And now anything other than putting the nose in would be not minding you. So we want to say, for example, please sit in your chair rather than will you do me a favor and sit down? Okay, because he's much more likely, or sit down, okay? Or sweetie pie, won't you sit down? All of those, when what you really want to say is, please sit in your chair. And that's what we're going to be looking for. So what is it that the child's expected to do? So when you say, let's clean up your room, what you're really meaning is, I want you to put your dirty clothes away or whatever it is. So we're going to keep it focused on the child. The second way to give an effective command is pretty hard because we have to take a step back and think, what is it we really want to say? And that's making our commands stated in a positive way. So, not that Parker would ever do this, but we'll pretend that sometimes he runs in the house. And if Parker runs in the house and you say, Parker, stop running in the house. Now, Parker, being the smart child he is, begins to skip in the house, hop through the house, cartwheel through the house, crab walk through the house. Did he mind the not running in the house?
Yes.
Yeah, technically. But probably the both of you knew what you meant. So I want you to say what you mean. I want you to say what it is you want to see in the behavior. Please use your walking feet. So that's positively stated. So now, cartwheeling, somersaulting, skipping, hopping, leaping through the house is not minding.
Okay.
We'll work on that. We'll deal with that. But if he does now use his walking feet, because you told him, please use your walking feet. Now he's minded you, you can give a wonderful label praise. Absolutely. Thank you for minding so quickly. Thank you for doing what I told you to do. I like the way you're using your walking feet. So he's more likely to do it because he's already responded to your CDI skills and your label praises so well. He works hard to get those label praises from you. So we want to think about what it is that we want him to do. And it's hard to give a label praise, thank you for not doing something. So this way we say what we want to see. A third way to give an effective command is make sure that they're given one at a time. So if you say to Parker, I want you to put the yellow nose in the potato head and then put some eyes on, a mouth, some ears, and some arms. And he puts in 2 of those, then you become sort of the policeman of trying to determine whether he didn't put the rest of the pieces in because A, he didn't remember, there were too many things coming at him, or B, he just was being oppositional. And I want to take away your having to make those things and increase the chance that Parker will actually be able to do it and mind effectively. So I want to make them one at a time. Parker, please put the nose right here in the Mr. Potato Head. Now, please put the ears in. And if he minds you, then he gets a label praise, right? And that gives you so many more opportunities to praise him. When you break it down, not only is he more likely to remember, but he also gives you much more opportunity to give those label praises. And if you give a great big one, like clean up the playroom, there's so many tasks that go with cleaning up your room or cleaning up the playroom. You're going to be uncertain, did he do it? And his idea and your idea may be 2 different things. So we're going to make sure that each command is broken down and it's simple that you can do. We want to make sure that the commands that you give are very specific rather than vague. So if you say to Parker, act right, behave, straighten up, be careful. He's 4. When you say to a 4-year-old, be careful, any 4-year-old worth their salt is going to look at you and say, I am being careful as he walks across the back of your couch. What you're really wanting to say is, please put your feet on the floor. So we want to say it very specifically. If you say, for example, with the potato head, please put the nose in the potato head, and he says, okay, and he jams it in the top, he's technically minded, yes?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you want it in a specific place, I want you to be very specific with your command. Please put the nose right here in the Mr. Potato Head. And then if it goes up here, that's not minding, and we'll deal with that. And if it goes right here, you can give a huge
Label
praise for minding and doing what it is that you told him to do. Thank you for listening. We also want to make sure that any command that you give, he can do. So we want to make sure they're developmentally appropriate. So next week when you come, I'm going to ask you things like, does Parker know how to make a P? And if you tell me yes, then we may give a command to please make a P right here on the paper.
Okay.
But if you tell me Parker can't make a P, it wouldn't be fair to say, Parker, make a P. You might have to dot a P and tell him to follow the lines. So I want to make sure that he can do it. Please draw a circle versus please make a hexagon. Okay? So at 4, my guess is he's not sure what a hexagon is, but he can maybe draw a circle. So we'll make sure that he can do it, and it's something that's good. And then once he does it, he gets that wonderful label praise from you. So there's so many opportunities in minding and listening to continue using your pride skills. Now, sometimes what kids do is they wait to hear the "my mom really means it" tone of voice. Okay? So for me, for example, when I would be playing outside in the summer, my mom would call, "Robin, it's time to come in for dinner." And I knew I had about 15 more minutes to play. And then it would get, "Robin, come in for dinner." Okay, yeah, I've got about 10 more minutes. Then, "Robin Hillary Gerwich, come in for dinner." And I knew when I heard my first, middle, and last, and she was yelling, I think that's why we give those middle names, right? So when I hear it, I know you mean business. Then I come in because I listen for the tone of voice. I want Parker listening to your tone of voice, Ray's tone of voice. I want it to be neutral, so he's listening to the words coming out of your mouth, not waiting till the veins are popping out and you're screaming.
Okay.
Because our hope is that the teacher is going to be giving it in a neutral tone of voice, and I want Parker to be practicing listening to you, to his dad, to his teacher. What are the words being said? That's what I need to listen to and not wait for that tone of voice. So it keeps you calm too. Certainly you can be polite, and you've already started with that, and it's so cute to see him mirror your pleases and thank yous and your welcomes. His manners are so nice now. So you can say, please put the nose in. Please put these eyes right here in the potato head. So you can use please. That's great. That continues to model that nice, polite language that you do so well. Sometimes kids will try to get out of doing a command by getting into an argument with you, or dawdling, or asking the big why question. So what we want to do is give the rationale, give the reason before you give a command or after it's over. So the last thing he hears is, this is what my mom expects me to do, I do it, and then there may be some more words. But in between, the only focus is he doing it? So they don't have to be huge. I want my potato head to be able to see. So that's the explanation. Please put these eyes right here in the potato head.
Oh.
Okay? It may be, and then he needs to do this, and then he gets a big label praise. Thank you for listening. Thanks for putting the eyes in. Now my potato head can see.
Okay.
If you forget and you say something like, please put the pink mouth right here, and he says, but Mom, why? Why? I don't want you answering. Once the pink mouth is in, then you can say, oh, thank you for minding. I just wanted to see a face, or I wanted him to be able to talk, whatever explanation you wanted. But before or after, not in the middle, because that's a quick way for him to try to get you to forget, or to postpone him having to mind if he can get you to argue, or if he can dawdle by asking those questions. When we think about children's minding and listening, we want to make sure that we give commands only when they're absolutely necessary. Because too many commands can frustrate a child, and too many commands, it becomes impossible for you to be consistent all the time if they're flying. So only when necessary. If it is going to be picture day, and you have picked out just exactly what you want Parker to wear for picture day, then you can tell him, please put on your Granimal shirt. And that's the shirt he wears. If you don't care, then you could say, do you want to wear this shirt or that shirt, or what shirt do you want to wear? Because you don't really care. So you want to save commands to when they're really necessary and when you know 100% that you can follow through with them. Okay? So if you say, for example, put on your shoes, because you are thinking, I've got to get to church, I've got to read today, I need to get going, and then he gets, crossways, and you're going to have to figure out what to do if he didn't get his shoes on, and you're going to be late for church, and you're going, I want you to be able to follow through. So if you don't have the time, just say, would you please put on your shoes? If he doesn't, scoop them up, scoop the shoes up, and get in the car so that you can get to church on time. So only when necessary. So again, we're going to start with our parent-directed interaction with commands in special time, in play. And so we're going to start with some really simple play instructions. Because if you can't get the nose in the Mr. Potato Head, you're not going to get the shoes on before church either. So we're going to start with the simple play commands that he has an opportunity to learn how to listen and mind. We'll go to much more difficult commands, real-life commands. We'll get it bigger and bigger until I'm sending you out to shop or go to Target or something like that. And people are going to come up and say, wow, what a great, well-behaved child you have. And you've already made some nice gains. Because when we think about giving commands, what are different things that Parker might do?
He might say, no.
No.
You do it, I don't want to.
Oh, that's a good one, right. He'll tell you to do it, right.
Yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, refuse.
And then just probably leave the room and just saying, no.
He'll just go. He'll just go. Yep. Those are great things, and so we need to figure out what we can do to handle that. Now, sometimes what we might do is that you're trying to figure out, okay, is he going to mind? Is he not going to mind? So you say to him, I want to see the orange arm on the Mr. Potato Head. So there's your reason. Please put this orange arm right here in the Mr. Potato Head. Okay, Mom. I'm going to do it. But first he needs a hat. I'm going to get that. Okay, so he's telling you he's going to do it. We have to figure out when do we know if he's minding or not. So we're going to have a 5-second rule. If he is not minding or moving to mind within 5 seconds, then he's not minding. So we want to look at that 5-second rule, that he's on the way of compliance. So we get rid of the, do I have to do this, or I didn't hear you, or any of those other things. If he hasn't started getting the arm into the potato head where you told him, then that's not minding. And he's got 5 seconds to do it. Now, that's okay. If you think about it, I want you to count in your head 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. Okay. Because if you count out loud, when is your smart Parker going to start minding?
At 5.
At 5. And once he learns about half numbers, he's going to tell you, oh, you forgot 4 1/2, or you counted too fast, or any of those myriad things that mean that he is not minding. Mm-hmm. So we're going to give the command, count in your head 5 seconds, and this arm needs to be moving into the potato head in 5 seconds, or that's not minding. So next we need to figure out what we're going to do. Let's say he does mind. He gets the arm in really quickly. What's he going to get? A label praise. And we're going to give him a label praise for minding and listening. Mm-hmm. So yes, I'm really happy that the arm is in, but I'm even more happy that he's minded. So thank you for minding me is going to be a command. Thank you for doing what I told you to do so quickly. That's going to be something that'll be generalizable, much easier than thank you for putting the arm in. That's still a good label praise. I want to make it even better. I like the way that you minded so quickly. Okay? So we're going to praise that compliance. Now, we have to figure out what we're going to do if Parker says, I am not putting that arm in. Okay? Well, actually, I'm going to back up 1 second. Let's say that you tell Parker to put the arm right here in the Mr. Potato Head, and he picks it up and he says, you know what? I'm going to put that arm in. There's your stupid arm. Okay? Now that's an attitude. And we've talked about for annoying and irritating behaviors that we're simply going to ignore. So for this, I'm going to have you use that tool and ignore the attitude and praise the minding.
Okay.
He'll quickly drop that attitude and respond to the minding, because already in special time, he works hard for those praises, and he's going to learn and work hard for these as well. But if he doesn't, if he does exactly what you said and says, you do it, I'm not going to put the arm in, you do it. Then you do your 5 seconds. He's telling you he's not going to do it. We have to figure out what we're going to do for not minding. Now, when we met, we went through all the things that you and Ray have tried with Parker. And there were a whole lot. And he found a way around every one of those. And so they haven't been effective. It's like he read the books and knows what to do. So we have to figure out something we can do that works every time for him. And I'm going to tell you, when I tell you it, you've already tried this, and you're going to say to me, really? Wait till I tell Ray. He is not going to believe this. That's okay. You can think it. You can even say it out loud. But I'm going to tell you that the reason it didn't work is because your son figured out every loophole to get out of it. So I'm going to ask you to take a leap of faith with me and trust me, because we've worked as a really good partnership so far to make some big changes. Because what I'm going to do, what I'm going to tell you is that if he doesn't mind, what we're going to use to handle not minding, to handle not obeying you, is time out.
Time out.
Time out. Yes, I know what you're thinking. I told you I tried this and it didn't work. And you're right. So we're going to take time out and make sure that we close every loophole to it. So when you use it, it's actually going to work for Parker. And that's another reason why I absolutely, positively want you to wait and let's do it here. Together we're going to do it here. Because if you tried this at home and he comes up with a loophole we didn't think about, then it's not going to work, and it's going to be, you'll be way back almost at square one. And I don't want to do that. So I want to do it here so we can close all the loopholes. And you're going to use the same words every time, so that these words are going to give him a second chance. It's not going to come as a surprise to him, and he's going to be used to it, and he's going to be able to play it in his head. So you're going to tell him, give him that command, please put the arm right here in the Mr. Potato Head. You're going to count your 5 seconds, and then you're going to say, Parker, if you don't put this orange arm right here in the Mr. Potato Head, then you're going to go to the timeout chair. Then you're going to have to sit in the timeout chair. That's it. And you're going to count 5 more seconds. And this arm needs to be moving. So that means you give the command, he didn't do it. If you don't, whatever it is, then you're going to have to sit in the timeout chair. You're going to wait 5 more seconds. So that's 10 seconds plus 2 chances for him to mind. If he minded everything within 10 seconds, would that be all right with you and Ray?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. And if you only had to repeat yourself 1 time, it would be a miracle, right? I think you can do it. I am really, really confident, because you're saying if you don't do this, you're going to have to go to timeout, and that is going to be your promise. I'm going to follow through. So if he does do it, big label praise for minding.
Okay.
If he doesn't do it, it's not there, then what we're going to do is you're going to stand up very quickly, and you're going to take Parker and you're going to say, oops, you didn't do what I told you to do, so now you have to sit in timeout. Okay? So you're going to move very, very quickly. because the reason he's in timeout is because he didn't do what you told him to do. So you're going to take him to timeout and say, you didn't do what I told you to do. Now you have to sit in timeout. Then you're going to say, stay in the chair until I tell you that you can get out. And you're going to step away from him, and you're going to come back, and we're going to play with the toys. Okay? Now, so you saw that I went very quickly, very calmly. Even if your heart's beating, I don't want him to know. You're just going to put him there safely, pick him up under his arms if you need to, put him in the chair. You didn't do what I told you, you have to stay. And there's some things that he may do on the way to the chair. Whatever it is, you're going to be RoboCop. Your only job is to get him to the chair.
Okay.
If he kicks you, you're not going to say, oh my gosh, you know you're not supposed to kick, because bam, he got you. So yes, you can come back and rub your shin, and no, he's not supposed to kick you, and I promise you it won't keep happening if we're really consistent. So no matter what happens, once you say you didn't do what I told you to do, you have to go to timeout. Your only job is to get him there.
Okay. Step
away and say, stay in the chair until I tell you get out. Now I want to think about what kind of chair you're going to put him in. So I want you to think about a sturdy adult-sized chair. So you've been doing your special time at the kitchen table, and you have good sturdy kitchen chairs, so just a kitchen chair can be the timeout. You notice that this chair isn't any different than these others, but that's what we're calling it, is timeout chair. So you can just use a sturdy kitchen chair, because a little chair, a kid-sized chair, is too easy for him to pick up and throw at you, or knock over, fall out of. You don't want a folding chair, bam, he'll fold up in it. Put me in an Easy Boy recliner, that would be great. A swirly chair, he'll have a terrific time in that. So you want just a boring, adult-size, sturdy chair. You want to sit in the chair, swing your arms and legs. Anything you can get to, so can he. So I wouldn't put it by your fish tank. Okay? Your fish will be all over pretty quickly. So right now you can put it right in the middle of your kitchen floor, because that way you can get up from special time or up from minding exercises and put him right in if he doesn't mind. You wouldn't want to put the timeout chair in front of the television. Again, please do that for me. So away from stimulation, because timeout is time away from any attention from you, which is something he has really come to love. So you're telling him stay there until I tell you can get off. Now there's a lot of things that he might do in the chair. He might scream, I hate you, which hurts your heart. I love Dad more than you, which just turns that. He may do the other side. I love you so much, Mommy. I want to be at the table and do what you say. And you're tempted. Anything he says, it may be simple like, Mom, what are you going to do now? Can we have macaroni and cheese for dinner? It may be just something like that. Anything you respond to, gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. I got your attention, so I'm going to do that again. So you're going to come back. I'll talk with you the whole time. You can color, you can play, you can do whatever you want, but you're not going to pay attention to Parker. He says, Mom, I've got a potty. I really, really do. Well, we're going to potty him before, so you know that he doesn't have to. Mm-hmm. He's been potty trained for a while, so that's not going to be an issue. And then you're going to make sure that you don't attend to it, because if you do, every time you say you have to go to timeout, I promise you he's going to have to potty. So we're not going to let him get you that way. So now we have to figure out how long is timeout. And what we know about children is that 3 minutes seems to be enough time to be effective. They can learn in 3 minutes. Less than 3 minutes, they may not learn as well. More than 3 minutes, we don't need it. So we're going to go with 3 minutes.
Okay.
but it's 3 minutes plus 5 seconds of quiet. So that what I'm going to tell him next time is that if you're quiet as a mouse, then timeout will be short. But if you're loud, then timeout's going to be long. So that he will learn that he needs to be quiet. Okay? Because if he finishes his 3 minutes and you were to say, okay, your 3 minutes is up, just as he screamed, I hate you, what he would learn is, oh, that's how I got out. It was the screaming, I hate you. So just like special time started and stopped because you said it did, even though you were run by a watch, the timeout is going to be run by a watch, 3 minutes, but not a timer, because when the timer goes off, if he's still yelling, he doesn't get out. So again, you're in charge. At the end of the 3 minutes, what you're going to do is you're going to walk over to Parker and you're going to say, now that you're quiet, and this way he knows that's what got you over there. And you know, I took away all those questions in CDI. I'm going to give you one question back. I'm going to give you back the question, are you ready to whatever it is? So now that you're quiet, are you ready to put the arm in the Mr. Potato Head? If he says, no, I'm not doing it, then you're going to say, fine, then stay in the chair till I tell you you can come out, and you're going to go back and the timer will start all over again. But Mom, I'm ready now. Well, you know what? You gave him his chance, and now it's on your clock again. If he says yes, or he takes your hand, or anything that acknowledges that he's ready, you're going to bring him back to the table. You'll point to it. If it goes in here, I want to think about it. He kicked you on the way to the chair. He said some pretty hurtful things from the chair. This is not going to be our time to give little Parker wonderful label praises for everything he did. Okay. So we're just going to acknowledge it. Fine, okay. But we're going to move to a second command. So after he does that, you're going to say, okay, and then you're going to say, now, I want to see glasses on the potato head. Please put the red glasses on the potato head. Most likely, he's going to show you that he learned from this. He learned from this experience. He wants to be back at the table with you. He wants to mind you, and he's going to put those glasses on really fast. Now you're going to give him a wonderful label praise. He'll be happy, happy, happy. And now you can go right back to your pride skills. So after he minds you, you go right back into your pride skills that will help bring that relationship back together again. Okay? So you're going to put him here. You're going to say, stay in the chair till you get off. 3 minutes plus 5 seconds of quiet. Now that you're quiet, are you ready to whatever? Come back. Acknowledge it, give the second command when he minds a big label praise. Now, what happens, what are we going to do if Parker gets out of the chair? So first of all, we have to figure out, how do we know if he's out? Because kids rarely sit still. So he may move around, he may look around, he may look at you, he may look over the chair. So what we're going to do is go with what we call our 51% rule. If more of Parker is on the chair than off the chair, then he's in the chair. But if he comes out and there's more of him out than in, then he's out. And he will get one lifetime warning. You got out of the chair before I told you to. If you get out again, then you're going to have to go over here to the timeout room. And as you can see, the timeout room is just a small room. It's got a door cut off so we can see inside. I can see him. And he'll have to be in there, and he'll be in there for just 1 minute plus 5 seconds of quiet. Okay. So he may scream and yell in there, but after the minute, we're waiting for 5 seconds of quiet. He comes out. We'll bring him back and put him in the chair and say, stay in the chair until I tell you can get off. and then we walk away. If he gets out again, this time we just pick him up and we bring him to the timeout room. Okay, you got off before I told you, so you have to go to the timeout room. Oops. And we'll put him in the timeout room for a minute with 5 seconds of quiet. At home, probably don't have a timeout room.
No.
So we have to think about where you're going to have the timeout room at home. So I'm thinking that the best place for timeout room at home, from everything you've shared with me about how things work in your house, is his bedroom. And I know you're thinking, well, then he's just going to play. But he's only going to be in there for 1 minute, and my guess is he's going to be standing right at the door, screaming for you to let him out. You're going to wait. At 1 minute, you're going to count 5 seconds of quiet. You're going to take him out of there and lead him right back to the timeout chair and say, stay here until I tell you can get off. Okay? Then he does his 3 minutes with 5 seconds of quiet. Okay? Then he has to come back and do what you tell him to do, and then do the second command. Big praise, and right back to your pride skills. They will learn very quickly to stay in the chair. Because I never get to bypass it, I always have to come back to it, and pretty soon he's going to learn, I'd rather just mind you because then I get to keep playing, and I love that time with you, and I don't like being away from you. If he were to scoot the chair or something like that, we'd give him a warning for that, so he knows. But we'll wait. We're not going to give him any ideas yet. We'll talk to him about getting out, but that'll be it. Again, I want to make sure that you don't try this at home. Okay. You can see why. There's a lot. Because what are some of the things that Parker might do?
Throw a ginormous tantrum and wreck not only special time, but his room, other things.
Other things, he might cry in the chair, laugh in the chair, whine in the chair.
Not take it serious.
Not take it seriously. I want him to know we are going to take this seriously. I mean it. If you don't do what I tell you, you're going to be in the chair, and you're going to have to sit there till I tell you to come out, and you're going to have to be quiet if you want it to go quickly. So next session, we're going to start the session. We're going to make sure we go all the way through it. We're going to close every loophole until he's minding and doing what it is that you expect him to do, that he's minding each thing that you tell him quickly. And we'll, I will tell you, we'll order in pizza if we need to, but I don't think that's going to happen. He's developed such a close relationship with you. I think that he may test us, like you said, but that's okay. We'll handle that. And Parker will learn pretty quickly. And so what I want to do this week is to make sure you do your special time. So I'm going to give you another homework sheet. I really want you to do your special time so we have that solid, and for Ray to do it as well. And then next week we will go through this. I'll explain minding and listening to Parker, and we'll practice it here. What I have is a few things besides the homework sheet. I have a sheet that has how to give those effective commands, so how to give them, what they sound like, some examples of them that I want you to study. Then I also have a timeout diagram that goes through it that has all the words. If you and Ray, I want you and Ray to look at this and study this. Even if you study it perfectly, I'm still going to coach you through it word for word. You don't have to come up with anything next week, but this way we'll be on the same page. What I want to do now is to role play this. So we'll practice some commands. We'll practice walking through all the steps of timeout. But I think it's going to go really well because of all the hard work that you have put into working with Parker.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll start role playing.